Welcome to a new episode where we will explore the depths of the human experience. Today, we will discuss a fascinating concept, the state of flow. Do you remember when you were so absorbed in an activity that you lost track of time? Perhaps you were skiing down a slope or reading a captivating book. In those moments, you experienced what is known as the state of flow. This flow influences how we perceive time. When we are in that state, time flies by. But what triggers this state? What makes us feel so connected to what we're doing that we forget about everything else? Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, a researcher in the field, named it flow state. He describes this moment as so immersive that nothing else seems to matter. It's a state of maximum concentration, happiness, and creativity. And although it may seem like an experience exclusive to artists or athletes, the reality is that anyone can enter the flow state, regardless of the activity. But how can we access this state more often in our daily lives? How can we transform routine into a series of experiences that make us feel alive and connected? That's what we'll discover today. So let's dive into the world of flow and learn how to make every moment count. When you think about those moments when you were completely absorbed in an activity, have you ever wondered what made that experience so captivating? Well, Owen Schaffer, a researcher dedicated to studying flow, provides answers. He has identified 7 essential conditions for entering this deep state of concentration and satisfaction. First, knowing what to do is crucial. Clarity of purpose is essential. If we don't have a clear direction, it's easy to get lost. Second, knowing how to do it. Having the right skills and techniques is fundamental to successfully perform an activity. The third condition is knowing how well we are doing it. This refers to having standards or benchmarks to measure our performance. If the activity involves movement, it's essential to know where we are going. This is the fourth criterion. The fifth condition tells us to have ambitious goals. Challenges keep us motivated and push us to surpass our limits. And of course, to use our best personal resources. Using our talents and abilities to their fullest capacity allows us to experience true mastery. Finally, the seventh criterion is not to be distracted by anything. Full concentration means eliminating any external or internal distractions. By understanding these conditions, we can better grasp why some activities immerse us in the flow state while others do not. And perhaps most importantly, they can guide us in how to create more flow moments in our lives. The balance between our skills and the challenges we face plays a crucial role in the flow state. It's essential to find that perfect balance because it determines whether we feel bored, stressed, or genuinely captivated by what we're doing. Owen Schaffer gave us a clue about this, emphasizing the importance of taking on challenges that are just beyond our current skill level. If an activity is too simple, we risk falling into a state of boredom. On the other hand, if it's too complicated, we might feel overwhelmed and frustrated. Ernest Hemingway, the famous writer, captured this idea perfectly when he said, "Sometimes I have luck and write better than I can." He suggested that sometimes we surprise ourselves by exceeding our expectations and limitations. And how can we apply this technique in our daily lives? If you're a graphic designer, you can try new software. If you're a programmer, why not venture into a programming language you're not familiar with? For a dancer, it might mean adding a new and challenging move. Even in simple activities like reading, this rule applies. Imagine trying to read a book on quantum physics with no prior knowledge. It would be overwhelming. On the other hand, a book that tells you things you already know will be boring. The secret is to choose readings that expand our knowledge, but are also within our understanding. Thus, we can reach that magical zone, the flow state, where time seems to fly, and we are completely absorbed in what we're doing. On the other hand, there are states of boredom and stress that occur when the balance between challenge and skill is disrupted. So, to experience flow consistently, it's vital to find that right challenge in everything we do. One of the most powerful techniques to achieve the flow state is setting clear and concrete goals. This is one of the main reasons why activities like video games, board games, and sports are often associated with this state of maximum concentration. In these contexts, the goal is direct and precise, to challenge yourself or defeat the opponent, while following the clear rules of the game. However, in many aspects of life, goals are not as clearly defined. Many corporations, for example, may struggle with defining and communicating their goals. People often complain that their mission at work is unclear, or they don't understand the direction their team or company wants to take. This is where the need for a compass comes in, a tool that provides direction and purpose instead of a complicated map that can become overwhelming. It is also crucial to stay focused on the process, not just the goal. For example, while an athlete wants to win the gold medal, he or she should not become obsessed with that medal during the competition. They should remain focused on the moment, on the flow of the competition, and not be distracted by the idea of victory. This idea applies in other contexts as well, such as writing. Many authors struggle with writer's block, in part because they are too focused on the final goal and not on the actual writing process itself. By concentrating too much on finishing a novel, for example, they may overlook the joy and flow that come with actually writing each word, each sentence. To enter the flow state, it is essential to clearly define our goals, but not let these goals distract us from the process itself. This balance between goal and process is the key to experiencing the joy and maximum concentration that the flow state can offer. We are surrounded by technology and constant demands, but this overstimulation doesn't necessarily make us more efficient. Multitasking, while it may seem like a solution, often prevents us from being truly productive. Why? Because although our brains are incredibly powerful, they are not optimized to process multiple tasks simultaneously. Constantly switching between activities consumes our energy and reduces our ability to concentrate deeply. Studies show that multitasking can decrease our productivity by up to 60%. Moreover, there is a cognitive cost associated with constantly switching tasks. In fact, our intelligence quotient can drop by more than 10 points in these conditions. And it's not just about efficiency or intelligence. Sleep quality, well-being, and mental health are also affected. Adolescents, for example, who are constantly connected to smartphones, tend to sleep less, feel less socially integrated, and may be more prone to depression. So how do we refocus? How do we regain balance and enter the flow state, that state where we are deeply concentrated and productive? Step 1 is awareness. Recognize the importance of focusing on a single task. Secondly, create an environment conducive to concentration. This may mean disconnecting from technology for periods of time, establishing a daily work routine without distractions, or using techniques like the Pomodoro technique to help maintain your focus. This is the path to truly being present in our activities and achieving maximum efficiency. In a world full of distractions, being focused can be the most powerful skill we have. The Pomodoro technique, a popular time management method, suggests working intensely for 25 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break. But everyone has their own rhythm. Some prefer to work for 50 minutes and take a 10-minute break. The essential thing is to strictly adhere to each interval. Start with a ritual that brings you pleasure and end with a reward. Whenever you notice yourself getting distracted, train your awareness to return to the task at hand. Techniques like mindfulness and meditation, or even activities like walking or swimming, can help with this. It's important to find an undisturbed work environment. If your usual space isn't suitable, explore other places, such as a library or a cafe. If you're an artist, maybe you need a quiet studio. Change your environment as often as necessary until you find the ideal place. To maximize efficiency, divide the activity into related task groups and perform them at different times and places. You might research at home, write in a library, and edit on the couch. Group routine tasks and complete them at a specific time of day. An interesting phenomenon in Japan is the concept of flow. Craftsmen, known as takumi, engineers, and even otaku, passionate fans of anime and manga, have something in common: a deep and intuitive immersion in the flow of their passion. There's a stereotype that suggests the Japanese are extremely hardworking and dedicated. However, whether true or not, it's undeniable that they have a remarkable ability to be completely absorbed in what they do, forgetting the passage of time. The story of a visit to Kumano, a village near Hiroshima, highlights the passion and dedication of a takumi, a woman who meticulously selects each hair for brushes. Hidden in a tiny workshop, this woman is a true master of her art, with hands that dance in a continuous flow, representing the essence of being in the flow. Through these examples, we see how deeply committed and passionate people can be about their craft or hobby, and how important it is to find our own flow and work in harmony with it. After those inspiring visits to Yukio Shakunaga's workshop and other places in Japan, Steve Jobs returned to California with a fresh and innovative perspective on design and craftsmanship. The impact of this cross-cultural collaboration became evident in Apple's subsequent products, infusing them with a timeless aesthetic and a focus on simplicity and functionality. In his Cupertino workshop, Jobs began to assemble a design team that shared this philosophy, where each member was carefully chosen to ensure that their level of passion and dedication met his high standards. Those who joined Jobs' team often underwent mastery trials, where they were encouraged to create something as wonderful and masterful as Yukio's teacups. As Apple's products evolved, Japan's influence became increasingly apparent. iPhones, MacBooks, and iPads began to look and feel like carefully crafted objects, not just technological devices. The edges were precision polished, the surfaces were flawless, and the functionality was as intuitive and enjoyable as handling a perfectly balanced teacup. Meanwhile, in Japan, the story of their collaboration had become legendary. Yukio Shakunaga was invited to give lectures and workshops on the intersection of traditional craftsmanship and technological innovation. He emphasized that, though it may seem contradictory, traditional craftsmanship and technological innovation are not mutually exclusive, but can exist in a harmonious symbiosis. And in this way, Yukio and Steve became, each in their own field, ambassadors of an intercultural dialogue celebrating excellence, simplicity, and innovation. The two worlds, though different in many ways, found a meeting point in their aspirations for beauty and perfection, guiding future generations of creators and innovators. A similar vision is highlighted in the practice of Japanese gardens. These are not just simple green areas or recreational spots, but reflections of a philosophy and a vision of life and the relationship between humans and nature. Karasansui gardens, for example, use stones and sand to represent the elements of water and mountains, demonstrating that beauty can be found in the simplicity and minimalism of the purest form. Traditional tea institutions in Japan, known as chado or sado, are another example where attention to detail and a focus on the present moment are essential. Every movement, every object used, and every sip of tea is an expression of respect and gratitude for life and nature. The tea ceremony is not just a simple activity. It is a moving meditation, a profound connection between humans and the surrounding nature. The same applies to traditional Japanese architecture. Houses and temples are constructed with a connection to nature in mind, using natural materials and traditional techniques that allow structures to breathe, adapt, and live in harmony with the surrounding environment. This philosophy of attention to detail and respect for nature is also reflected in Japan's approach to technology. Despite being one of the most technologically advanced countries in the world, Japan has never forgotten the connection between humans and nature. Technology is not used to dominate nature, but to work together with it, to improve the lives of people without disrupting the natural balance. A striking example is the intersection of traditional and modern in the city of Tokyo. Alongside gleaming skyscrapers and state-of-the-art infrastructure, you will find centuries-old temples, peaceful gardens, and wooden bridges spanning flowing rivers. In essence, regardless of the field, whether it's cuisine, craftsmanship, or engineering, the Japanese spirit is about finding balance, uniting opposites, and living in harmony with everything that surrounds them. This is the true art of life in Japan, an art in which every gesture, every action, and every object becomes a meditation and a celebration of existence. Hayao Miyazaki is more than just an animator or director. He is an endless source of inspiration for anyone wishing to pursue their passions with dedication. We can learn much from this master of animation, especially about the power of the flow state and the value of true dedication. Beyond his extraordinary drawings and the powerful messages conveyed in his films, what truly sets Miyazaki apart is his intimate relationship with his work. He doesn't see animation as just a job, but as a form of expression, an extension of himself. In a world dominated by technology and automation, he honors his traditional skills by choosing to draw by hand, paying attention to every detail. It's clear that for Miyazaki, animation is not just a career, but a way of life. It has been said that he lives by the principle of mono no aware, which can be translated as the beauty of transience, or sensitivity to things. This is the idea that beauty or deep emotion comes from recognizing the passage of time and the transience of all things. This sentiment is reflected in many of his films, where nature, technology, and humanity coexist in an ever-changing world. This profound dedication to his art is what makes Miyazaki stand out. Even though he has retired, he continues to work and create because drawing is not just his job, but his passion, his soul. Through his works, he teaches us that when you truly love what you do, there are no boundaries between work and pleasure. For Hayao Miyazaki, every drawing is a celebration of life and an opportunity to connect with the world around him. In conclusion, the life and career of Hayao Miyazaki embody the essence of Ikigai. He shows us that when we discover what truly passionates us and dedicate ourselves entirely to that passion, we can live a truly fulfilled life, regardless of the obstacles or changes we encounter along the way. The existence of a strong Ikigai is not limited to Japanese culture. This deep passion and purpose-driven dedication can manifest in any culture or profession. The fact that some individuals are so dedicated to a passion that it guides them throughout their lives demonstrates the power of authentic Ikigai. Albert Einstein is an excellent example of this concept. His dedication to science never waned, and he worked even in the final moments of his life. For Einstein, physics wasn't just a profession or an occupation. It was a constant source of curiosity and fascination. But equally significant is the fact that music played a fundamental role in his life, demonstrating that an individual can have multiple ikigai, or that different activities can satisfy different parts of their soul. Haruki Murakami, one of the most well-known and respected contemporary writers, is also a shining example. He is notorious for his work ethic and strict discipline, which is reflected in the quality and depth of his works. His isolation from the world is a conscious choice to protect his ikigai, to remain connected to the source of his creativity and inspiration. It's fascinating to observe that many of these individuals seem to isolate themselves from the world. This is not necessarily an antisocial reaction, but rather a recognition that to maintain and nurture that source of passion and inspiration, it's about finding joy and meaning in small or ordinary tasks, making them more interesting by incorporating elements that enhance their depth or challenge. This helps us navigate through daily activities with a positive attitude and enjoy what we do no matter how mundane or repetitive it may seem. The elevator operator at Shinjuku Station is a perfect example of this concept. Instead of seeing her task as merely pressing buttons, she transforms it into a series of graceful movements and greetings, making customers feel appreciated and welcomed. She has found a way to bring her own charm and style into a simple activity, turning it into a pleasant experience for both her and the customers. Bill Gates and Richard Feynman also provide fascinating examples of this concept. Even though they are, or were in Feynman's case, highly accomplished figures in their fields, both find or found value and joy in simple tasks. Gates turns dishwashing into a moment of reflection and order, while Feynman found joy in activities like painting a wall or buying office supplies. These examples underscore the idea that happiness and meaning don't have to come solely from major achievements or obvious successes. Often, happiness and satisfaction can be found in the simple details and daily activities. The ability to enter a state of microflow, to transform routine into something you enjoy, can be the key to a life filled with contentment and happiness. Appreciating the small moments and finding ways to make them meaningful can have a profound impact on our overall well-being. Meditation, as a technique for self-awareness and relaxation, offers many benefits, from calming the mind and reducing stress to improving concentration and mental clarity. The idea of an instant vacation, is a metaphor for meditation's ability to provide a break or escape from the chaos of everyday life, offering a mental refuge where we can find peace and balance.